All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2023 Lowell Municipal Election Candidate Forum for City Council Districts 1, 2, 4, and 5. My name is Chris McNeil, and I'll be tonight's moderator. This is the fourth and final in a series of debates put on by LTC and Lowell Votes, and before we dive into things, I'd like to say a little bit about our two organizations. LTC, of course, is pretty rad. We provide media training and equipment access to the city, in addition to my favorite thing, our gavel-to-gavel coverage of municipal meetings. We actually have a series of documentary-focused classes coming up in November where you can learn skills such as creating voiceovers, digitizing old photos and tapes, and interviewing. So just in time for when Grandma and Grandpa come down for the holidays, you can make a video history of your family or literally anything else. All it takes is a membership and some gusto, and you can learn to make something really wonderful, I promise. Lowell Votes, no shock here, also pretty great. Lowell Votes is a nonpartisan grassroots coalition working to increase civic education, participation, and government accountability in the city of Lowell. Programs they offer include CERT, a candidate training program designed for those looking to run for office. Some of the folks on the ballot for this election have gone through Lowell Votes CERT program. They also produce and distribute educational materials about local democracy, civics, and who's running via their voter guides. Through my work at LTC, I've found these guides to be very helpful during election season, so I can only imagine how much more value they provide to someone who lives here and has to go out and vote with them. Lowell Votes also conducts door knocking and phone banking to help increase voter turnout in neighborhoods where turnout has been historically low. And that's a very important thing because more people need to be voting. I also want to give a final shout out to Lowell Votes for the work they've done in arranging live translation for these forums in Spanish and Khmer. It does so much to increase access to this information, which is something we both want as organizations. So if any of these sound like things that are important to you, please visit lowellvotes.org to learn more about how you can help them. Now let's get to it. Joining me over here are Olga Madrid and Joao Corga, who will be asking tonight's selection of questions. All questions were generated with resident input and are part of Lowell Votes' extensive effort to make voting easy, interactive, and fun. A reminder that the purpose of this forum is to provide a platform for residents to engage with their candidates on issues that are important to them in order to make an informed decision at the polls. This is not a debate. We ask that audience members joining us in person also be respectful. Clapping is welcome, but heckling will not be tolerated. And with that, introductions. Candidates will get 1 minute each, and we will start in alphabetical order. We begin with Ms. Chun.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone, and thank you, LTC, for hosting us, and Lowell Votes as well. 1 minute's not enough for an introduction, I'm telling you. But the most important thing for me, my name is Susie Chun. I am running for District 5 City Council, and currently serving on the school committee. For me, being an activist and being a member of the community and serving the community for over 20 plus years, and being an educator for 24 years, being a grandma and a mom, I know wholeheartedly how it is to be, active in the community. And my job as an active member in the community is to convey our messages to other members who are unaware of the situation in our city. And I would like to ask for your vote on November 7th. And again, my name is Susie Chun. And most importantly is I like to advocate for our community. I like to be the voice. I want to be the voice, and I continue to serve the community. Again, 24 years, and I've continued. And if not elected, I've continued being Susie. Thank you.
If I could just briefly remind the candidates to crane the mic in your direction so that the people at home can hear you. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everybody. How are you? My name is Amanda Gregory. I'm a candidate for District 4 for City Council, and I'm here just to tell you that I'm an activist also. I have over 25 years working with the community. So I know my community. I'm the voice of the community, especially the community that is underrepresented and underserved. I'm here just to say I'm the right person for City Council this year. And also, it's not only that, I engage the people in the community. I know my community. I've been working with a lot of organizations and helping the community. So I'm here just to say vote for me in November 7th. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Marty Hogan. I am running for District 2 Councilor, and I live in Centerville. I have been there for the last decade. My wife and I live on Wachusett Street, and we enjoy our neighborhood. I think there's a lot that I could bring to the table as far as ideas and helping out the city move forward. I think that Lowell has a lot of positives, and I think that we need people who are willing to work hard and work with the community to bring our city even further. And so I ask you for your vote in Centerville on November 7th, Tuesday, November 7th, one of your votes for District 2 City Councilor. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Wayne Jeunesse. I currently serve on the City Council representing District 4. And this is my first campaign for re-election. I'd like to thank Lowell Votes and LTC for putting this event together tonight. It's always great to be able to come out and discuss the issues with folks and really get into it. In my first 2 years on the council, I've really enjoyed everything from constituent service to economic development, housing issues, and everything else that this council works on. I think I've built some pretty strong relationships with my fellow colleagues and the groups, the various neighborhood groups across the district. And I'm asking for your vote so I can continue that work and continue doing what we can to build the best version of Lowell that we can. So once again, my name is Wayne Jeunesse, and I'm running for re-election in District 4 for the Lowell City Council. Thank you.
My name is Corey Robinson, first-term city councilor. I represent District 2. Born and raised in the city of Lowell, live in Centerville. I represent Centerville. I myself came through the CERT training back with Mary Torres. The work that's been begun, Centerville hasn't had a voice for quite some time, and I'm immersed in the community. I have a biracial background. My whole life, I've had friends and worked in different subcategories of our community that allow me to utilize the connections and relationships I have to accomplish some of the challenges that not just my neighbors in Centerville, but entire city has reached out and discussed. So I look forward to continuing the work, and I'd ask for your vote to keep working for and with my neighbors of the city. Thank you. Corey Robinson.
Good evening. My name is Dan Rourke. I'm current city councilor of District 1, Pawtuckaville. Enjoy working with my colleagues, Councilor Jeunesse and Councilor Robinson, on a new way of the way we govern our city, going to the district representation. Personally, I live, I grew up, I work, I raise my family in the city of Lowell. Do numerous volunteering for different organizations. I work over at the Lowell Judicial Center as a probation officer. I've been there for 22 years now. I first started on the council back in 2014. At the time, crime was high, staffing was low within our emergency services department. Since that time, we have worked very hard and diligently as a council together to fill those positions and to move the city forward. Once again, my name is Dan Rourke, the current city councilor. I'm looking for to be reelected in District 1, Pawtuckaville. Thank you.
All right, now we're going to move on to our question and answer session. So for this round, we have 3 questions, and candidate will get 1 minute to answer, starting in alphabetical order. So I'll now pass it over to our questioners to read the first question to Ms. Gregory.
What do you believe are the primary responsibilities of a city councilor, and what do you hope to accomplish if elected?
Well, I have a lot of experience working with families and also with a community. To accomplish this, I'm very passionate of democracy and equality and inclusion. I will bring to the city more unity, more information, and engage the community, engage the residents for the decision maker. As a family advocate, I have a lot of experience with the community. I will bring that, to the city hall. I will bring that, and also not only bring that, but also educate more the community about city engagement that, sometimes they do not know anything, and educate also people regarding Lowell.
Thank you. I believe that there are really two jobs a city councilor has. One is to be a constituent service to the people of your district or the city of Lowell. The second is to advise and work on the actual budgetary items of the city. Do I think there are more things than that? Yes. I think that a city councilor also needs to be a person who reaches out and connects with his community or her community. I think it's somebody who needs to work to bring together people when things aren't working. I also think it's somebody that needs to look and have a hard look at the financial and infrastructure situation our city is in right now. So there's a bunch of things, but the most important is constituent services. You have a problem, you go to your counselor. You call them, you make the connection. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. For me, the primary responsibilities of the city council include hiring the city manager, developing the budget for the city, being a sounding board for residents, whether that's for community services or just listening to issues, and being there to actually liaise between the neighborhood groups, the residents, and the management of the city. If reelected, I will continue everything that I've been doing in my first term. I will attend as many neighborhood meetings as possible. I will engage with every group that I can possibly engage with across the district and across the city. And I will continue to work to push the management team of the city to do the best that they can to build the best situation we can in Lowell. I believe that we need constant vision and constant iteration on our plans, and I will continue that work. Thank you.
So the primary responsibilities of city councilor, policy. Our role predominantly is the policy makers, setters for the organization. The city manager and his team, they're tasked with the daily operational stuff. Our task is pretty much setting policy and guiding the direction in which that administrative team moves. In addition, a liaison to the community, a sounding board, an advocate, somebody that can kind of mediate and explain what's really going on with city policy, as I mentioned before. I believe if small instances like potholes are a symptom of a problem, the policy that a councilor would be tasked with is how to prevent and how to maintain our roads. So it's a lot larger than just an individual, one small title as a city councilor, but I believe policy would be the primary task.
Thank you. As a city councilor, I think it's incumbent upon anybody that serves or wants to serve is to listen to the community, to learn from the community, and to act accordingly on the community's behalf. As stated before, the city manager governs the city, but it's up to the council to give that direction to the manager in which way we want to see the city to go. Over the number of years that I've been fortunate enough to serve, we have done that successfully, and once again, upon re-election, continue to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. The primary responsibilities of a city councilor would be, again, being, policy holder, and collaborating and working with our city manager. That's the one thing that we need to work alongside with is working alongside with our city manager and collectively working with our constituents. Constituent service is very important. My experience knocking on doors is hearing the issues that matters to our everyday voters that live in our district. So for me, being able to have the collective collaboration with our city manager and the department appropriately work alongside who we are. We are here to serve the community. We are here to represent the community. We are here not just to be, an elected official. We are here making sure that issue that matters to our voters, they're our boss. Like it or not, they are our boss. They vote for us to become who we are as an elected official. When their voice matters, we matter. Thank you.
All right, the next question is for Mr. Hogan.
Sidewalks throughout all neighborhoods, not just downtown, are important for community safety and equitable access to services. Sidewalks connect us to buses, schools, shopping, recreation, etc. How would you work to improve pedestrian safety and remedy neglect of our pedestrian walkways in all neighborhoods?
Well, I think one of the first things I would do is do a audit of what streets, what sidewalks need to be done. There are some sidewalks that need to be done desperately. We all know them. We have them. There are some that need to be patched up. There are some that need just a little work. But unfortunately, I think we have more of the first type than that last type. I would work to see if we can figure out what the cost would be to do massive redevelopment of the sidewalks, specifically to end using tar and do more cement sidewalks so that we can have stable walkways. Also signage, better signage throughout the district so that and the city, so that we know where we're going, where we have to go, and what we can do to get there. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. This is an important issue, particularly when it comes to our downtown, but really all across the city. This city council has done it's done a good job in investing in the infrastructure in the city. We've significantly raised the amount of money we're spending every year on our roads and our sidewalks to address the years of deferred maintenance that have really put us in the situation we're in now. And it's important that we continue that investment and we continue making smart decisions as to when we renovate a street and make sure that we do it in a comprehensive fashion so we aren't coming back to patch things up and fix a crack or anything shortly thereafter. It's important to build it right the first time and then maintain it. And building policies around how we work on our sidewalks and our streets is one of the most impactful things that we can do as a council to address this issue.
Sidewalks and streets are a big ticket item, and that's something this council, as my colleagues mentioned, has committed to. Real investment in infrastructure improvements, as well as being mindful of ADA compliancy, because that's another key component, because new sidewalks are great, but if they're not handicap accessible, they do nothing for a good portion of our residents. In addition to being ADA compliant, the reason cities and towns and municipalities don't use cement is because EPA has banned the use of pretty much sand for winter operations. So when we're spreading salt to alleviate the ice in the winter operations, salt corrodes cement. So that's why we haven't gone that direction, and many municipalities don't go that direction. So again, I think it all comes down to proper planning, a real commitment for both short, medium, and long, all three, short, medium, and long-term maintenance packages that go along with this. And so I think we have to connect our residents.
This is one of the best benefits of having the change in local government, the way we have district representation as before when it was completely citywide. Nobody has filed more motions concerning sidewalks in their districts than Councilors Robinson and Councilor Janess. And not only that, they listen to the communities and they stay on top of it. And that's the main benefit when you have 8 district councilors that are advocating for the communities, where in the past they may have been neglected. But now with this council and these district councilors that I'm very fortunate to serve with, not only are they listening to the community, they're acting on behalf of it, and most importantly, they are enforcing those requests made to the city manager and holding the manager accountable for action.
talking about equitable, Counselor Robinson mentioned it very, briefly about, having the wheelchair accessibility. And that's the one thing that we need to work on as well. We want to make sure that everyone that have access to our sidewalks. And the one thing that I really want to emphasize on is the importance of not just fixing it at the moment, but making sure that we find something in ways that are sustainable. And that's the one thing that I really want to work on. And signage, as a school committee and as a person who walk the community, signage and lighting is very important. And when I'm knocking on doors, that's the other most important thing to our community members, is that not enough lightings in their neighborhood, in our area. So most importantly, when we want people to use our sidewalks, to utilize it and feel important in our city, is making sure that our lightings are there, not just for a certain amount of time. We need to make sure that we have enough lighting as well. Thank you.
Hello. Sidewalks is very important, like you say, for everybody, especially for the teen, the school children. Sidewalk is being downtown Lowell very bad for people, especially the elderlies that live, in downtown Lowell. And I fell down in the sidewalk. Because it was not fixed. When they fix, they just, when it's rain, when the snow, that it's already, the hole is still there. So a sidewalk is very important, and we need to work in that. It's not waiting and waiting and waiting and say that we're gonna fix. We need action. It's because the people and the community need to be safe when they walk, especially in the winter time.
Thank you. Our next question goes to Councilor Janess.
In 2021, Lowell hired the firm Clifton Larson Allen to conduct a human resource audit, out of which 19 recommendations were made, including reviewing our former DEI working group, expanding recruiting efforts, and having a standardized hiring evaluation criteria. How will you commit to implementing these and other recommendations if elected?
Thank you for the question. This DEI audit was a crucial piece in guiding the future operations of the city. And it's something that this management team and the previous management team have begun to implement these changes. We've added an online applicant tracking system for all job applications in accordance with the recommendations that came out of this. We've hired a chief DEI officer for the city. That position was empty for a while, but it has been restaffed. And I think empowering that DEI chief to really take this report by the horns and really try to get through as many of these things as possible is the best path forward. And that's going to rely on communication between the manager and his team, the DEI officer and the council, and everyone in the workforce of the city. There's a lot of work to be done, but I'm proud of the efforts that have been started by this administration, including the DEI training program in partnership with Middlesex Community College. Thank you.
As my colleague mentioned, we hired finally a DEI officer. Again, this person is tasked with the implementation of all things DEI for the municipal organization. We've also contracted with Middlesex Community College, where we're providing training and resources to our employees. We're in a support role in all of this, and so our advocacy has stemmed to and implemented the hiring of these key positions. So as they come forward with recommendations and they're looking for resources such as funding or anything else, or policy that might help make this heavy lift that much easier, that's what the council's role will be. And at that time, we'll have those conversations.
This would have been a great question to ask a year ago, 18 months ago. One of the greatest accomplishments, I believe, of this current city council is all the recommendations that have been put forth by Clifton Lawson Group. This council has implemented the tracking system for applicants, has continued to expand their outreach for job opportunities. We utilize Middlesex, we utilize Mass Hire. All jobs are posted in multiple different areas and spots for applications. We encourage those to apply within the city of Lowell and even outside. The DEI officer that has recently been hired is a welcome addition to the city administration staff. And I think we are well on our way to fulfilling the recommendations that were made. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, for me, as a school committee member, I've always advocated for language competency. When our community members feel comfortable about speaking in their own language and representing us as a community and feeling comfortable as who we are as a community, having stakeholders, having, our Lowell police officers and our fire departments having to have like a training in terms of like cultural competency in our community, especially we all know that Lowell is a very diverse city. So we want to maintain that. We want to continue embracing that. And once people feel empowered in their own language, in their own culture, they're willing to step up out of their comfort zone and willing to work together collectively as a community to make this city a better city. And I stand firm in having people who feel confident in their own language to continue advocating for and reaching out to people who are in our community who are willing to. We have a lot of active members in our community that are willing to step out and actually speak to other members of our non-English speaking community. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I would like to say that we need more education. We need also inclusion. We need equity, just to be able to, hire people from a different background, a different language, because sometimes people come here to the United States and they are professional. The thing is, they don't have the opportunity, they give the opportunity for them to work in their own language and feel comfortable. For instance, I have a lot of experience in the city hall when I came here to Lowell. I applied 1,000 times. I said 1,000 times, but I applied a few times and I didn't get hired. And I got to work outside Lowell and left my children out here and me working in Haverhill. So, it's better that more education for Lowell so that the people could be involved and involved.
Well, I think definitely one of the things that I would like to see is more outreach from the city to the different neighborhoods as far as the opportunities that there are. We have a lot of positions in the city. We have a lot of positions downtown, not even with the city, that the city could work with the independent companies and try to bring more people in from the neighborhoods, not just, as you just said, not just from outside, but in the neighborhoods. But communication, I think, is the biggest thing that needs to be bridged at this point. I think that we need to be more open about what we're doing in the city and make sure that we're going to find the best candidates, but also candidates that represent us. Thank you.
All right, well, that concludes that part of the question and answer round. Don't worry, we're going to come back to it. But right now we're going to go to the speed round, which consists of two sections. The first is the yes or no section. For the yes or no section, there will be a series of yes or no questions, which all the candidates will answer using the provided yes or no signs. Candidates are not allowed to elaborate further and can only respond using said signs.
Thank you.
All right. The first question will be going to Councilor Robinson. What am I saying? It's going to all of you.
So currently, Lowell City Council switches from a weekly meeting schedule to bi-weekly meetings from June through September. Should the City Council continue to hold only bi-weekly meetings during the summer?
Next question.
Do you agree that heat islands are an immediate issue that need to be addressed in Lowell? I'm sorry. Do you agree that heat islands are an immediate issue that need to be addressed in Lowell?
All right. Next question.
In September, the city cleared out the Cayenne Street encampment, displacing dozens of unhoused residents and making it the fourth encampment this year to be vacated by the city. Do you support the city's current policy of eliminating encampments of unhoused residents?
Do you support making changes to our current zoning code rules as a mean to creating avenues that will increase available affordable housing stock?
All right. We have one more question.
Currently, the city of Lowell has no term limits for city councilors. Would you support term limits for city councilors?
Okay. All right. That concludes the yes or no round. Those are now going to get collected, and we're going to move on to knowledge, which is the final section of our speed round, where the candidates will put their knowledge of Lowell to the test by answering a series of questions about the demographics and people of Lowell. All candidates will answer every question by writing down their answers on their whiteboard. Candidates will have 30 seconds to respond and hold up their whiteboard before the correct answer is read out.
Thank you.
According to Lowell Public School, what percentage of families speak a language other than English in the home?
All right. So, could you hold them up? Keep them held up 1 second. Sorry. All right. So we got 72, 79, 62, 60, 48, and 50. And the correct answer is 38.
What percentage of Lowell residents live below the recommended living income for Middlesex County?
All right. We got 29, 60, 48, 65, 65, and 65 again. And the correct answer is 42%.
The 2022 Greater Lowell Community Health Needs Assessment has identified what top 3 health priority areas?
And that is time. Let's see what you got. We got mental health, housing, and the economy, equity, inclusion in housing, racism, access to healthcare, and parents or poverty. Poverty. Housing, food insecurity, education, job training, food, healthcare, and shelter, and healthcare cost and service availability. So the top three are mental health, chronic health and wellness, and substance and alcohol use disorder.
According to the US Census data, immigrants make up what percentage of Lowell?
All right, so I see 40%, 33%, 68, 30, 40, and 40. And the correct answer is 28%.
According to housing websites like Zillow, Samper, and Rent Cafe, what is the average monthly cost of rent for a one-bedroom in Lowell?
Rent.
All right, we got 2100, 1800, 1800, 1800, 1600, 1800. The correct answer is 2000. 2000 a month. All right, so now we're unfortunately going to have to collect the whiteboards again as we transition into the next round. All right, delivering on my promise, question and answer round 2. For this round, we again have 3 questions, and candidates will each get one to answer, starting in alphabetical order, starting with Councillor Robinson.
Most recent reports estimate over 300 Lowell residents are currently unhoused and in need of shelter. What is your plan to help currently unhoused residents of Lowell, and how will you address the housing crisis in our city?
So we're in talks right now currently with a couple developers. We also have been contributing to community preservation funds towards development of housing units. We have development going on in the TOD, Transportation Overlay District. As far as we're also examining additional outside the box ways that we can incentivize developers to come in to help develop and increase the housing inventory, because that's one of the big things that we're struggling with is inventory, and that goes statewide. The rates are not conducive to construction currently, so we are exploring all options to try to increase that housing inventory to be able to bring down the costs. Again, at $2,000 for a rental, it's I think we're going to see a lot more unhoused in the community, unfortunately.
City of Lowell is well ahead of schedule as far as the housing choice that the state has laid upon us in regards to MBTA zones and TOD building as well. Just at the last council meeting, we had a report that once again Lowell is at the forefront of these issues. With regards to those that are currently unhoused, our co-op team made up of mental health advocates, police, and fire They ask almost on a daily basis, do you want to help? We are here, we have resources that can be furnished upon somebody, but they have to accept it. Those that don't want to accept the assistance that's offered, that's a situation that puts the city in a tough position, and also puts the person that needs the help in a tough position. Lowell, again, as a welcoming city and town, has more social services and resources than any other in the area.
Unfortunately wasn't passed last week was the ADUs. I'm in full support of that. That's one way to alleviate some of the housing crisis that we're having. And we all know housing is an issue, and our unhoused community is one of the major issues in our city. Oh, can you hear me now? Sorry. Do you have to go back? Sorry. So for me, again, last week, in our city council meetings, that ADUs weren't supported by many, and I'm in support of that. That's one way to alleviate some of the housing issues that we're having in our city of Lowell. And one way to also, for me, working and supporting our CTIs and our Lowell housing authorities and CBAs. Those are nonprofit organizations that are working alongside with our community to ensure that we have enough housing that will help our unhoused community and help those who cannot afford housing. I will continue to advocate for ADUs. I will talk to our city councils that represent me to make sure that ADUs are out there to support our housing crisis that we have in our city. Thank you.
Yes, I think it's very difficult right now just to house their own housing because we had to work first at the people that have their own apartments so that they cannot lose their apartment. And they have also a lot of building empty in Lowell that they could rebuild. And they could rebuild, and the rent should be maybe less, that they don't have to pay $2,000 for a family or three. But I want to say that let's work for the people that are housing right now, because sometimes they don't have the money to pay and then they become on housing. So we need to work in that. We need to know that, listen, we cannot let one of the family be on housing. So let's work also in that. Thank you.
So this is a complex problem and a complex solution. So I believe that it comes down to multi-factor. First thing that I think is, yes, we need more housing. But if people cannot afford to live in those housing, we need to make sure that we have jobs for people who live in this city. We have to bring more employment, more education, more ability for people to bring themselves out of the debt and the gutter, basically, of not being able to get out of a rut. I can tell you right now, I have a great job. I know people that have great jobs, but things are getting more expensive and it's becoming harder and harder to live paycheck to paycheck. We want to make sure that we bring in education, employment opportunities, and we want to make sure that we help people get out of the situation they're in. Just building houses is not going to do that. We need to make sure that they're available and that people can afford and keep them up. Thank you.
Thank you for this question. I think it's a very important one that has many different avenues to it, and there's no way I could answer it in a minute. So I'm going to do the best I can. I hope you'll bear with me. The approach to housing needs to be multi-pronged, as Marty just said. Just building houses isn't going to be the answer, but we need to build at all income levels. We need to build at all sizes. We need to look at zoning changes, and this council has made several. We've changed the rules in the downtown mixed use to no longer require parking spaces for any developments of 10 units or less. On Tuesday, we approved the MBTA zoning act. I had two motions that I put forward on Tuesday as well about other opportunities that we can look at on how to develop more affordable housing. I believe that Lowell's housing first approach is the way to go, but it can't be housing only. Building housing without the wraparound services is not going to give our unhoused population the tools they need to find themselves out of their situation and back into where they want to be. So it's a long answer, and I apologize.
Next question is starting with Councilor Rourke.
By 2050, Massachusetts has pledged to achieve net zero emissions, which refers to the balance between the amount of greenhouse gas that is produced and the amount removed from the atmosphere. What specific goals and measures do you support for reducing Lowell's carbon emissions? And how do you propose to get Lowell to net zero by 2050?
Thank you. So, start off by just being a little bit honest. There's no chance that we can be net zero by 2050, but we can take necessary steps to reduce emissions. This council, as a whole, has endorsed numerous programs just over the past 2 years. My colleague has filed motions and has been supported for solar energy throughout the city of Lowell on different projects. Also, we talked about our heat islands and what we can do, with planting trees and things like that. There are many options that this council has adopted that we've taken from the community and listening to those that have done more than us in this area. We have a coordinator that works in sustainability that has gotten the city of Lowell $11.7 million in grants during her time over the past 3 or 4 years. So once again, as a city, Lowell is a leader in this category. Thank you.
So for me to, continue working with our homeowners and utilizing our public buildings, and when we're renovating and considering having updates on our houses and also with our public buildings, is to make sure that we have solarization and make sure that we have sustainability, and that's very important. For us, is making sure that we're building something. We're looking into heating pumps, which will help continue taking away some of that carbon emission that we've been utilizing, and just having again, going back to solarization and having solar systems that will help to help to help some of the issues that we're having at the moment, and updating on and we should have some incentives in terms of having, when we're doing updating on our public buildings or our houses, our government should have some kind of incentive to, encourage people to help take away some of that carbon emission that we have in our city, in the United States. Thank you.
Well, I think, first of all, maybe educate a lot of people regarding the emission or carbon emissions. I think it's educate also the residents. We need to be educated more regarding that also they make a decision too. We could do a survey around the buildings because sometimes we don't have any information regarding that. So to be able for us to go ahead and do better, so we need to go and educate people. We need to go educate the residents, and that's what I said. Education to the resident, and also to the property manager with the building.
So I think one of the areas that we could utilize, and I put this when I filled out my survey, was that I think we don't do enough recycling in the area. I think we could bring in companies who do that, be an economic entrepreneurship, and try to bring companies that do that type of thing. One of the things that comes to mind is that we have areas of green space that we're always talking about trying to, develop. We want to take it and develop it. This is one of those arguments that we should be thinking about when we're talking about that. It's one of those areas in which we need to preserve. And I think that in that way, we can push ourselves ahead with all the other suggestions. I think reducing what we have for green space is just a nail in the coffin if we do that. So keeping the space the way it is and making sure that we conserve it, I think is the best thing. Thank you.
So this is another multifaceted issue, and there's lots of ways we need to go about looking at this. And I'm very happy that this administration and this council has recently created a Department of Sustainability within the city to look at a lot of these issues across the city enterprise. We need to do things like decarbonize our facilities, both on the city and the school side. We need to make smarter decisions when we're replacing vehicles and not just replace them with another gasoline-powered vehicle when we can. We also need to work with our state partners. Lowell is a city where the majority of our residents rent. Renters are not able to access programs like Mass Save that exist to help homeowners make ecological updates to their homes. The renters in Lowell cannot take advantage of these programs. And also, things like the MSBA need to be updated in order to allow cities like Lowell to make ecological choices when we are working on our schools, replacing systems and building new ones. It's something that more affluent towns can just do on their own, but Lowell can't. So we need help from the state.
I think we need to take recommendations as a council from a sustainability director manager. We have to look towards best practices in other municipalities. I think we need to look towards, in the future, incentives that can help landlords to retrofit and to upgrade their properties for our renters. I've been pushing right along with my colleagues about solar. I think the high school is one perfect example of we're looking to do solar down the road. In my district, Robertson School Hill, we've explored potentially implementing a solar farm almost along the hill that's underutilized to see what the return would be for the surrounding schools. I think we just need to be mindful of what kind of opportunities exist and play the supportive role to those that advise us that these are best practices for the municipality.
All right. Next question is starting with Ms. Chun.
How do you plan to stay connected to the needs of your community, and how would you hold yourself accountable to residents while in office?
The one thing that I will definitely hold myself accountable is making sure that the messages that we're having in terms of having motions that are our agenda basically is having it be conveyed in languages where our community feel comfortable in listening to. And a lot of times that the members of our community that I've spoken to, our language accessibility is not readily available for our community members. When we're doing all these municipal meetings, it's not accessible in languages where people are comfortable. And a lot of our meetings are for everyone in our city who are voters. So the one thing that I will hold myself accountable for is to ensure that our languages are being conveyed and our messages are being conveyed to all our members in our community. Thank you very much.
Well, I will hold myself accountable is when I would like to bring the people united and be treating with dignity, respect, and also inclusion. I would like to have inclusion in the city hall. If I don't do that, I will hold myself accountable. I want to open and I want to work with all the diversity and make people united and equity and inclusion in the city hall and have a bilingual person or hire a lot of bilingual people in the city hall and that way so we could serve everybody because we are diversity. Lowell is diversity. Lowell is a beautiful city. So and because diversity, that's I hold myself accountable.
I'm going to refer back to my professional life. The way I hold myself accountable in all of my IT and professional IT workings is by a ticketing system. We talk about 311 from time to time, but I think that a system of communications between the people who put in requests, back and forth, constant updating, so you know where your requests are to a city councilor, where things stand in City Hall. Has it been brought up? When will it be brought up on the city council meeting? A notification, more active notices. I'd also like to put some kind of bulletin boards in the different neighborhoods. I see it in the more affluent towns around us. We need to do it here. It gives you information about what's going on. The third thing I would suggest is that we have councilors do regular meetings with the community on their own where they get to talk to their people. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. The community is the foundation of our roles as city councilors. And during my time on the council, I have tried to be engaged as much as I possibly can with all the different neighborhood groups across my district, try to attend as many meetings as possible, as many events as possible, and try to just have as many conversations as I possibly can. I encourage everyone to reach out to me if there's ever anything they need that I can help with. If you ever want to call me on something or text me, my cell phone 617-777-3396. I'm happy to talk to anyone and do whatever I can to bring those needs forward to the city. In terms of accountability, I rely on the residents to really be there and be in touch with me and reach out to me. If I'm not responding on something, keep calling me or call one of my colleagues and they'll poke me. I'm finding this job extremely rewarding, and particularly the constituent services and the communications part of it is something I really enjoy and look forward to continuing.
Staying connected to the community isn't something I feel like I have to plan. I'm part of the community. I'm out in the community. I have plenty of conversations on a daily basis with the community. Holding myself accountable, I deliver. If I tell somebody I'm going to do something or work on something, I do. I follow through. And that's just something that I've always done. I work for a living with my hands in a municipality, so you don't get the luxury of I'll get to that later. It's when you're told to do something, you do it immediately. And I carry out constituent services the same exact way. I'm very accessible. I field 24 phone calls a day, and I try to carry through from start to finish on every promise that I make. As far as staying connected, it's if you lose touch with your community, then how can you effectively advocate for your community?
This is also one of the best benefits of the change in local government. And you now have 8 district councils, someone that represents each of the districts separately, but also you have at-large councils, and it allows all of us both the opportunity to work on the small things while keeping in mind the bigger issues that surround the city of Lowell. Personally, you always want to be accessible. You always want to have the ability to listen, the ability to civilly disagree with somebody that doesn't think or have the same ideas as you do, and you bring the concerns that you hear forward on Tuesday nights or on any day of the week, and to make your city, make the city of Lowell again the best place to live and to work and to raise a family. Thank you.
All right, now we're going to go on to the closing statements, where you guys will each receive a minute, starting with Ms. Gregory.
Hi, I would like to thank you, Lowell. I would like to thank you, everybody that have me here. And I'm grateful. This is my first time really running for city council. So I'm so very nervous. But I would like to tell you that my past experience, 20 years working with the community, and working also with minorities, and working with immigrants, and working with a lot of family. I learned and I connected and I make relationship with the community and with the residents. And because that, I've been working with the community, and I have a lot of people that I know, and people talk to me about it, so they know me. I'm outside. I'm not a woman or or a lot of words, but I'm a woman of action.
Well, first of all, thank you to everybody that's here, and thank you for putting this on. Again, my name's Marty Hogan. I'm running for District 2 City Councilor, and I come to you as a neighbor, as a community member, as someone who has 20 years of business management experience, an IT professional, somebody who works hard, and somebody who loves living in Centerville and in Lowell. When I moved here, it was an open and welcoming community, and I want to help give back and do the service to my community and to make our little piece of the world better every day. Tuesday, November 7th, I ask you for your consideration and your vote, and I thank you for taking this time. And again, Marty Hogan, Centerville City Council. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Lowell Votes and LTC for holding this event tonight. Thank you to everyone who came down, everyone who's watching at home, everyone who I'm sharing this table with tonight. I think this has been a great event, and I'm happy to have been able to participate. I'm really enjoying the work of being a city councilor. This first term has been extremely fulfilling for me. I'm hoping that I have earned the right or the votes from my neighbors in order to do this again for another 2 years. This city is something I love. Moved here and fell in love with the place very quickly, and now I'm just trying to do everything I can to keep Lowell that welcoming city that I found, as well as build it into the best possible version of Lowell that we can. I think we have a good team in place, and I hope to be part of it going forward. So thank you all for your time. Once again, my name is Wayne Janess, and I'm asking for your vote on November 7th for District 4 City Council. Thank you.
In the first term, serving the city council and serving the citizens of Lowell, I think I've proven that I'm willing to bring the challenging and difficult conversations to the forefront. I mean, we're not always going to agree, but one thing I won't shy away from is initiating that conversation, because you're never going to come up with a solution unless you bring everybody to the table, and sometimes you have to compromise and negotiate. I think we started laying the framework to address a lot of the challenges that have existed for quite some time, not only in my district, but citywide. And I think a vote to reelect me will allow me to continue to do that work with my community, with our community, in the city that we all care about. It's District 2. It's a mixed bag, and I look forward to serving not only District 2, but the residents of the city as a whole, and rise to the challenge, because we have quite a few on the horizon, but the work has started, but there's much more to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, my name is Danny Rourke. I'm city councilor in District 1, Pawtuckaville section of the city. This has been a fun event. I thank and I congratulate all those that have put in the effort, the time, and the name on the ballot. The more people that do run, the more ideas that are talked about, more things that go back and forth, and in the end, the city wins. Looking forward to the next 2 years on the council and working with my colleagues. That we have done so much just in the past 2 years that has made Lowell an even better place to live and to work and to raise a family. Many people have had the opportunity to leave the city at one point in time, and many of us have all stayed. We realize the great city that it is, the diversity that's involved, the opportunities that are here in the city of Lowell, and I just look forward to continuing to do that over the next 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Lowell Votes, and thank you, LTC, for hosting this event, and thank you, everyone here that are here tonight to listen to us. The most important thing to me, I started off as an advocate for democracy, human rights, justice, social justice. I've done it for almost 30 years of my life. I will continue to do this. And being someone who is active in the community, I would continue to do what I do in office or not in office. And, being someone who really love this city. It's a cliche to say that you want to continue to pay it back. And I would continue to serve the community, working alongside with our nonprofit organization in our city, attending events that empower each and every one of us in this city. I would continue doing that. And I would continue doing that in the chamber. And being someone who, coming here as a child of an immigrant, a refugee, this is power. This is empowering. And thank you to those that advocate for the redistricting of our city, because this has given me an opportunity to run for office, to serve our community. Thank you. Susie Chun, District 5. Thank you.
All right, and that concludes our forum for tonight. Thank you to everyone who came out tonight to join us in person, and to those who are joining us digitally or watching this sometime in the future as well. We also want to thank all the candidates who made time tonight for these, and as well as our partners for their support in helping us put this event together. Election Day is Tuesday, November 7th, and early voting is ongoing until November 3rd in the Mayor's Reception Room, second floor of City Hall. For information on, you can check your polling location at the Secretary of State's Where Do I Vote MA website. For more information on how to vote by mail, you can visit the Lowell Votes website at lowellvotes.org. Be it earlier on time, in person, or by mail, help your community and cast your vote. Recordings of this forum, as well as our previous candidate forums in English, Spanish, and Khmer, are available on LTC's YouTube page, as well as our website, ltc.org. Thank you all again for joining us, and have a good evening.